Self-Concept Shift, Change How You See Yourself. By Evelyn Harper. Published by Audiobook Stories. Self-Concept Shift offers a clear, actionable guide to reshaping how you see yourself. This is not just about positive thinking or vague motivational advice. It's about developing a deep understanding of your identity and creating real, lasting change from within. We'll explore how the stories you tell yourself, your habits, and your choices all contribute to shaping your self-concept, and how, with the right approach, you can transform those stories into ones that empower you. This book is for anyone who feels trapped by negative self-beliefs and those who are tired of living under the weight of past mistakes or external expectations. It's for individuals ready to take control of their lives by starting with how they see themselves. Chapter 1, Understanding Self-Concept. Your identity is a complex web of beliefs, experiences, and perceptions. It's more than your name or what you do for a living, it's how you view yourself at the core. Your identity is shaped by countless factors, including your environment, your upbringing, relationships, societal expectations, and the internal narratives you tell yourself. Core beliefs are the foundation of your self-concept. These are your deep-seated ideas about who you are and what you're capable of. Often, these beliefs form without conscious thought, influenced by what you've been told or experienced over time. Your identity is dynamic, not static. Many people mistakenly believe that once formed, identity is fixed. This is a false narrative. Your identity can evolve, and it must if you want to grow and reach your full potential. The key is actively shaping it rather than allowing external forces to dictate who you are. But how did you get here? What elements have contributed to shaping this sense of self you carry today? How childhood influences self-concept. Childhood is where the seeds of self-concept are planted. The experiences you had as a child, both positive and negative, play a significant role in how you view yourself today. For example, consistently encouraged, valued, and respected children are more likely to develop a healthy, strong self-concept. On the other hand, children who face criticism, neglect, or emotional abandonment may grow up with a distorted view of their worth. In those early years, your self-concept was malleable. Your interactions with parents, siblings, teachers, and peers set the stage for how you interpret your place in the world. Praise or punishment, these reactions have profound effects. When you're repeatedly told you're not good enough, that message can become a core belief. Conversely, consistent encouragement and support build the foundation of a confident self-concept. Parents and caregivers play a pivotal role. How they speak to you, model behavior, and react to your mistakes, these interactions form the first image you see of yourself. If your parents showed unconditional love, you likely learned you deserve love and respect. If they were critical or distant, you might have absorbed feelings of inadequacy or unworthiness. These messages, especially from authority figures during your formative years, become the narratives you internalize. Breaking free from false narratives. But here's the good news, your childhood doesn't have to define you. The narratives you've carried from your early years don't have to remain valid. One of the most powerful steps in shifting your self-concept is recognizing and breaking free from the false stories you've told yourself or others. False narratives often sound like this. I'm not good enough. I always fail. I'm not lovable. I'll never change. These thoughts are not facts, they're beliefs shaped by past experiences. Recognizing that they're false is the first step in breaking free. Awareness is critical. You must become conscious of the inner dialogue that runs on autopilot. Often, these thoughts are so ingrained that they go unnoticed. Pay attention to what you tell yourself throughout the day. When you hear that negative inner voice, challenge it. Is it true? Is it based on past failures or someone else's opinion? Most likely, it's an outdated belief that doesn't serve you anymore. Challenge these thoughts with facts. Ask yourself for evidence if you've convinced yourself you're not good enough. Have you failed in every situation? Probably not. By shifting your focus to the times you've succeeded, you can begin to create a new narrative, one that's based on reality rather than fear or past conditioning. Rewriting your core beliefs. To shift your self-concept, You must rewrite the core beliefs that shape it. If you've been living under a negative self-concept, it's time to challenge those deep-seated beliefs and replace them with ones that support your growth. Start by identifying your current core beliefs. Ask yourself, what do I believe about myself? What do I think I'm capable of? What do I believe about my worth? Write down everything that comes to mind. Don't filter your thoughts, just let them flow. Once you've identified your current beliefs, examine where they came from. Are they based on actual experiences or remnants of someone else's opinion? Often, the most harmful beliefs are those inherited from others. Now, it's time to rewrite them. Replace every negative belief you've identified with a positive, empowering one. For example, instead of "I'm not good enough," try "I am capable of growth and improvement." Instead of "I always fail," try "I can learn from mistakes and succeed." This isn't just positive thinking, it's a deliberate effort to reshape your self-concept based on evidence and intention. You transform the way you see yourself by continuously challenging and replacing negative beliefs. The role of your environment in shaping identity. Your environment also plays a significant role in shaping your self-concept. The people you surround yourself with, the media you consume, and the places where you spend your time all influence how you see yourself. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, criticism, or people who doubt your abilities, your self-concept will reflect that. Whether you realize it or not, you are a product of your environment. Therefore, part of shifting your self-concept involves creating an environment that supports the person you want to become. Choose relationships that uplift you. Surround yourself with people who see your potential, encourage you, and challenge you to grow. Distance yourself from those who belittle you or undermine your confidence. Create spaces that inspire growth. Whether it's your home, workplace, or community, your physical and emotional environment should reflect the best version of yourself. If your current surroundings are holding you back, make changes. Even small shifts, like decluttering your space or spending time in nature, can help create an environment supporting a positive self-concept. The role of self-reflection. Self-reflection is a powerful tool that gives you insight into how your self-concept was formed and how it continues to evolve. The ability to pause and examine your thoughts, behaviors, and reactions is essential for understanding yourself deeply. This process allows you to identify where your beliefs about yourself came from, whether they are empowering or limiting, and how you can shift them to better align with the person you want to be. Critical insight. Without self-reflection, you're merely reacting to life, following patterns that may no longer serve you. Self-reflection is not a one-time practice, it's a continuous process. The more regularly you reflect on your experiences, the better you understand the choices you're making. You begin to see the moments when you allowed old beliefs to dictate your actions and how you might choose differently next time. Best practice. Regularly reflect by journaling or setting aside time to think about your actions and thoughts throughout the day. Ask yourself, did I act in alignment with my true self today? Self-reflection gives you the space to question outdated narratives and explore the growth potential. It's an essential step in reshaping your self-concept because it helps you develop self-awareness, which is the foundation for all lasting change. How childhood influences self-concept. Your childhood experiences are the first bricks laid in constructing your self-concept. During these formative years, the beliefs, values, and behaviors of those around you, especially your parents or caregivers, significantly shape how you see yourself. As a child, you absorb the messages you receive about your worth, intelligence, abilities, and place in the world. Whether intentional or not, these messages become the foundation of your self-concept. Important consideration: if you are praised for specific achievements but criticized for others, you may develop a conditional sense of self-worth. You start believing you're only good enough when you meet specific standards or expectations. This conditional self-concept can be deeply ingrained, influencing how you approach challenges, relationships, and even how you perceive your value. Children are also highly impressionable, and they often internalize the words and actions of others as truths. If you grew up in an environment where criticism, neglect, or rejection was expected, You might have developed a distorted self-concept, one that is built on the belief that you're not enough or that you have to earn love and acceptance. Critical insight: your beliefs about yourself as an adult often relate to childhood experiences. Many adults continue to carry a self-concept formed from their early years, unaware that it no longer serves them. It's essential to examine these childhood influences critically. Reflect on the early messages you received about yourself. Were they based on unconditional love, or did expectations and conditions drive them? Recognizing this can help you understand why you might cling to certain false beliefs about yourself. Breaking free from false narratives. False narratives are untrue stories you tell yourself about who you are. These narratives can come from various sources: society, childhood experiences, personal failures, but they all serve one purpose: to limit your potential. A false narrative might sound like this: I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. I'm not capable of change. I'm too flawed to be loved. These beliefs are not inherent truths but stories you've adopted over time. The good news is that you can change the narrative. Actionable step: to break free from false narratives, identify them first. Pay attention to the thoughts that run through your mind daily. What are the recurring stories you tell yourself? Are they empowering or limiting? Once you identify these false narratives, challenge them. Ask yourself, is this belief objectively true? Often, you'll find that it isn't. It's merely a perspective you've adopted, often without question, based on past experiences or external opinions. Critical insight: you are not your past. The mistakes, failures, or negative feedback you've experienced do not define who you are at your core. They are events, not your identity. To fully break free from false narratives, you must replace them with new, empowering stories. Begin to rewrite your internal dialogue with beliefs aligned with the person you want to become. For example, I am capable of growth. I have the power to change my circumstances. I am worthy of love and respect. Best practice: write down these new narratives and repeat them daily. Over time, these affirmations will replace the old, limiting beliefs. Breaking free from false narratives is not a one-time fix. It's an ongoing process that requires patience and persistence. But as you continue to challenge and replace these old stories, you'll notice a profound shift in how you see yourself and your potential. The role of self-compassion. Self-compassion is one of the most important practices you can adopt as you begin reshaping your self-concept. It's easy to be harsh on yourself for not meeting your expectations, but this only reinforces the negative beliefs that hold you back. Self-compassion is treating yourself with kindness, especially in moments of failure or self-doubt. Instead of criticizing yourself for mistakes, you offer yourself the same understanding and encouragement you would give to a close friend. Critical insight: self-compassion is not the same as letting yourself off the hook. It's about recognizing that mistakes are part of the human experience and don't define your worth. When you practice self-compassion, you create space for growth and healing. You shift away from the idea that you must be perfect to be worthy of love and acceptance. This is a critical step in transforming your self-concept because it allows you to see yourself as a whole, an imperfect yet valuable person. Best practice: in moments of self-criticism, pause and ask yourself, what would I say to a friend in this situation? Then, offer that same kindness to yourself. This simple practice can profoundly change how you see yourself. Understanding your self-concept is the first step in transforming how you see yourself and how you live your life. Your experiences and relationships shape your self-concept and the stories you've told yourself. But it's important to remember that it's not set in stone. By practicing self-reflection, examining the influence of your childhood, and breaking free from false narratives, you can begin to shift your self-concept in a way that empowers you. This journey requires patience and commitment, but the rewards, confidence, self-acceptance, and a stronger sense of identity, are well worth the effort. Key takeaway: you can reshape your self-concept and redefine your identity. The process begins with understanding how your self-concept was formed and continues with intentional actions to transform it into one that aligns with your true self. Reprogramming old beliefs. Your self-concept is primarily influenced by the beliefs you've accumulated over the years, beliefs often formed without conscious awareness. These beliefs may have served you at one point, but as you grow and evolve, they can become outdated, limiting, and restrictive. If you don't actively reprogram these old beliefs, they continue to define how you see yourself and what you believe you can achieve. Critical insight: to reshape your self-concept, you must first identify and challenge the beliefs that no longer serve you. Old beliefs often operate in the background of your mind, dictating your decisions, actions, and reactions. For example, if you were told as a child that you weren't good at math, you might still carry that belief, avoiding tasks or careers that involve numbers, even though it may no longer be accurate. These beliefs become automatic filters through which you view the world and yourself. The first step in reprogramming old beliefs is to bring them to the surface. Ask yourself, what do I believe about myself that could hold me back? It could be beliefs about your intelligence, worth, abilities, or potential. Actionable step: write down any limiting beliefs that come to mind. Be as specific as possible. Then, challenge those beliefs. Ask yourself, is this belief based on facts, or is it an assumption I've been carrying for years? In many cases, you'll find that these beliefs are not grounded in reality but in old experiences, often from childhood, where you formed ideas about yourself that no longer apply. Once you've identified the old beliefs and challenged their validity, the next step is to replace them with new, empowering beliefs. This is where reprogramming begins. Critical insight: your brain is constantly reshaping itself through neuroplasticity, meaning you can rewire the beliefs that shape your self-concept. Start by affirming the opposite of your old belief. For example, if you've always believed I'm not good enough, replace it with I am worthy and capable. The key is to consistently repeat these new beliefs, even if they don't feel genuine initially. Over time, through repetition and positive reinforcement, your brain begins to internalize these new beliefs, forming a new self-concept aligned with who you truly are. Best practice: incorporate daily affirmations into your routine. Write them down and say them aloud each morning and before bed. This consistent repetition will help reinforce the new beliefs you want to internalize. Remember, beliefs are habits of thought, and like any habit, they take time and practice to change. Reprogramming your old beliefs is a foundational step in shifting your self-concept. It's about removing the mental barriers that have held you back and replacing them with empowering beliefs that support the person you're becoming. Finding your core values. Your self-concept is closely tied to your core values, the fundamental principles that guide your decisions, behaviors, and interactions with the world. However, many people go through life without ever identifying their core values. This lack of clarity leads to a misalignment between who you are and how you live, creating internal conflict and dissatisfaction. Critical insight: to develop a robust and positive self-concept, you must align your life with your core values. But what exactly are core values? They are the deeply held beliefs that drive your sense of purpose and fulfillment. Values like integrity, honesty, creativity, growth, or compassion may be central to who you are. Still, if you haven't consciously identified them, you might not be living in alignment with them. Finding your core values requires introspection and honesty. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? What principles are most important to me, regardless of external influences? This can be challenging because we are often conditioned by societal expectations or family pressures to adopt values that don't truly resonate with us. Best practice: create a list of values that resonate with you, then narrow it down to your top 5. These should be the values that feel the most authentic and meaningful to you. Once you've identified them, reflect on how well your current actions, choices, and lifestyle align with these values. For example, if growth is one of your core values, but you're stuck in a job that doesn't challenge or inspire you, this creates a disconnect between who you are and how you live. This misalignment can lead to frustration, dissatisfaction, and a weakened self-concept because you're not living by what truly matters to you. Aligning your life with your core values strengthens your self-concept by creating a sense of integrity between you and how you appear in the world. You become more confident, decisive, and at peace with yourself because your actions are guided by what you hold dear. Critical insight: when you align with your core values, your self-concept becomes grounded in authenticity and purpose. You know who you are and trust yourself to make decisions that honor that truth. Finding your core values is not a one-time exercise. Your values may shift as you grow and evolve, and that's okay. The key is to continuously reflect on your true self at each stage and adjust as needed. This ongoing alignment ensures that your self-concept remains fluid and adaptable yet rooted in authenticity. Integrating self-awareness with action. The journey toward shifting your self-concept isn't just about understanding yourself intellectually, it's about integrating that understanding into your daily life through action. Self-awareness, while essential, is only part of the equation. To truly reshape your self-concept, you must consistently act in alignment with the insights you've gained. Critical insight: your self-concept is reinforced through action, not just thought. It's not enough to recognize your limiting beliefs or identify your core values, you must actively make choices reflecting your new beliefs and values. This means taking intentional steps, no matter how small, to live in alignment with the person you're becoming. For example, if you've reprogrammed a limiting belief about your worthiness, you must act as if you genuinely believe you are worthy. This might mean setting healthier boundaries in your relationships, pursuing opportunities that align with your passions, or standing up for yourself in situations where you once would have stayed silent. Actionable step: commit to a tiny daily action reflecting your new self-concept. These actions don't have to be monumental, even small steps, when taken consistently, have a cumulative effect on how you see yourself. Best practice: track your progress. Keep a journal where you note your actions that align with your new self-concept. Over time, you'll see a growth and consistency pattern that reinforces your evolving identity. Taking action is what solidifies the internal changes you've made. It bridges the gap between self-awareness and transformation, allowing you to embody the person you aspire to be fully. Shifting your self-concept requires more than surface-level adjustments. It involves a deep and intentional process of self-reflection, reprogramming old beliefs, identifying your core values, and consistently acting in alignment with the person you're becoming. Key takeaway: your self-concept needs to be fixed. It is fluid, evolving, and within your control. By breaking free from outdated narratives, reprogramming the beliefs that limit you, and living in alignment with your values, you create a new foundation for personal growth. You begin to see yourself not as a static identity but as a dynamic individual with limitless potential. As you continue this journey, remember that reshaping your self-concept is ongoing. It's about continually refining how you see yourself, aligning with your truth, and stepping into the fullest expression of who you are. The following chapters will guide you through deeper aspects of self-concept transformation, offering practical tools and insights to help you on this journey. Now that you've laid the foundation by understanding your self-concept, it's time to explore how you can turn this awareness into lasting change in every area of your life. Let's move forward with intention, clarity, and a renewed sense of self. Chapter 2: Self-Concept versus Ego. The ego is often misunderstood. It's not just about arrogance or pride, it is the part of you that identifies with your thoughts, labels, and the need to protect a specific image. Your ego tells you, "This is who I am and who I must continue to be." The voice says, "I need to be right," or "I need to appear successful." While the ego plays a role in helping you navigate the external world, it can also create unnecessary limitations. Key insight: the ego is the false self, the version of yourself shaped by external opinions, societal expectations, and fear. Recognizing the ego means becoming aware of when you're acting from a place of defensiveness, comparison, or need for approval. The voice drives the need to win in conversations, the desire to fit into a specific mold, or the impulse to avoid vulnerability. The ego thrives on separation, labeling, and judgment, which can cause you to distance yourself from your authentic self. Best practice: pay attention to your internal reactions, especially in moments of conflict or challenge. When you need to defend, justify, or prove yourself, ask, "Is this my ego speaking? Recognizing when the ego is in control is the first step toward reclaiming your true self. Ego and fear, unmasking the connection. The ego and fear are deeply intertwined. The ego's primary function is to protect you from perceived threats, whether those threats are real or imagined. It operates from a place of fear, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of being seen as inadequate. This fear drives many of your actions, keeping you locked in patterns of self-preservation rather than growth. Critical insight: the ego's fear is not based on actual danger but on the fear of losing your constructed identity. When you act from fear, you are acting from the ego. This might manifest as avoiding risks, staying in comfort zones, or resisting change, all because the ego fears that your sense of self will be challenged. It creates a false sense of security, making you believe that staying small, avoiding discomfort, and protecting your image is the safest route. But in reality, this fear keeps you from expanding and evolving. Actionable step: to unmask the connection between ego and fear, ask yourself in moments of hesitation or anxiety, what am I terrified of losing? Is it your reputation, someone's approval, or your sense of certainty? Often, these fears are tied to the ego's desire to maintain control over your self-image, not your true self. How ego creates conflict with self. One of the most significant challenges with the ego is that it creates internal conflict. While your true self seeks growth, connection, and authenticity, the ego seeks control, validation, and separation. This inner conflict can leave you feeling disconnected from yourself and the world. Critical insight: the ego thrives on keeping you disconnected from your true self by creating artificial boundaries between who you are and who you think you need to be. The ego creates a gap between your external image and your internal reality. You may feel pressured to conform to a role or identity that no longer fits simply because the ego fears change. For example, if you've always been known as the strong one in your family or social circle, your ego might resist showing vulnerability, even though your true self craves it. This conflict leads to feelings of anxiety, dissatisfaction, and a constant need for external validation. You might find yourself doing things not because they bring you joy or align with your values but because they uphold the image your ego has built. This is how the ego keeps you stuck in a cycle of living for others rather than for yourself. Actionable step: notice when you disconnect between your actions and authentic desires. Ask yourself, am I doing this to maintain an image, or does this truly resonate with who I am? Critical insight: the more you align with your true self, the less power the ego has over you. Ego's role in social identity. The ego often dominates your social identity, how you define yourself about others. The ego feeds on labels, titles, and roles that give you a sense of status or belonging. It tells you, I am my job, I am my achievements, or I am my social status. While these aspects of life are essential, they can become problematic when they dominate your sense of self. Critical insight: the ego thrives on comparison and competition, using social identity to create a sense of superiority or inferiority. Social identity is often shaped by external factors, such as your career, relationship status, or even the groups you associate with. The ego attaches to these labels because they provide a sense of identity. However, this attachment can lead to a fragile sense of self, easily threatened by change. If your identity is tied to your job, what happens when you lose that job? If it's tied to your relationship, what happens when that relationship ends? The ego also fosters comparison, constantly measuring your worth against others. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy if you perceive yourself as less than, or a sense of superiority if you believe you're better than others. Both extremes are unhealthy and keep you disconnected from your true self. Best practice: start to detach your self-worth from your social identity. While roles, titles, and achievements are part of your life, they do not define who you are at your core. This detachment will allow you to navigate social dynamics more efficiently and authentically. Letting go of ego-driven expectations. One of the most freeing realizations is that the expectations you place on yourself, driven by the ego, are not set in stone. The ego often creates rigid expectations about how you should act, what you should achieve, and how others should perceive you. These expectations can be exhausting and limiting. Critical insight: letting go of ego-driven expectations opens the door to a more authentic and fulfilling life. When you let go of the need to meet the ego's demands, you free yourself from the pressure to prove something to yourself or others constantly. You no longer need to measure up to an image of success that isn't truly aligned with your values. This allows you to live more authentically, embracing the present moment rather than chasing an ideal that may not bring you happiness. Actionable step: examine your expectations for yourself. Are they driven by a desire to fulfill your ego's need for validation, or are they aligned with your true desires? Begin to release the expectations that no longer serve your well-being. Cultivating ego awareness. Awareness is the antidote to the ego's control. The more aware you become of how the ego operates, the easier it is to disarm its influence. Ego awareness doesn't mean trying to eliminate the ego, it's about recognizing its patterns and choosing to act from a place of authenticity rather than fear or comparison. Critical insight: the ego loses power when you observe it without judgment. When you notice the ego at play, whether through feelings of defensiveness, comparison, or a desire for control, acknowledge it. Simply recognizing when the ego is driving your thoughts or actions is enough to create space between you and the ego. This space allows you to choose a different response, one that is aligned with your true self. Best practice: develop a mindfulness practice. By staying present in the moment, you can catch the ego in action and respond from a place of awareness rather than reactivity. Living beyond the ego. The ultimate goal of understanding the ego is to live beyond its limitations. This doesn't mean erasing the ego, as it plays a role in navigating the external world. Instead, it means living in a way not dominated by the ego's need for validation, comparison, and control. Critical insight: living beyond the ego means aligning your actions with your true self, not the image the ego wants to project. This shift allows you more freedom, creativity, and joy. You are no longer bound by the need to prove yourself or conform to external expectations. Instead, you live from a place of inner peace, knowing that your worth is not determined by what you achieve or how others perceive you. Actionable step: reflect on areas of your life where the ego has the most decisive influence. What would change if you approach these areas from a place of authenticity rather than ego? Implement small shifts in your thoughts and actions that reflect your true self, not the image the ego tries to protect. Conclusion: integrating ego and self. Understanding the relationship between self-concept and ego is crucial for personal growth. While not inherently wrong, the ego often creates barriers to living authentically. By recognizing its patterns, unmasking the fears that drive it, and detaching your sense of self from external labels, you can live more in alignment with your true self. Key takeaway: the ego is a part of you but doesn't define you. Awareness, reflection, and mindful action are the keys to living beyond the ego's limitations. As you continue to explore the dynamics of self-concept versus ego, remember that this journey is about integration, not elimination. Understanding how the ego operates allows you to navigate life with more clarity, compassion, and authenticity. Your self-concept is not fixed, it's fluid, evolving, and within your control. In the next few chapters, we'll explore practical strategies for aligning your self-concept with your true desires and creating a life that reflects your most authentic self. Chapter 3: The Power of Self-Talk. The Impact of Words on Identity. Words are more powerful than most people realize. What you say to yourself, aloud or in your head, shapes your reality. How you talk to yourself and your inner dialogue form the foundation of your self-concept and ultimately affect your identity. Critical insight: the words you use to describe yourself are more than just reflections of how you feel, they shape who you become. Self-talk is not merely about thoughts that come and go. It is a continuous process of reinforcing or dismantling your identity. When you repeatedly tell yourself, "I can't do this," or "I'm not good enough," you are not just expressing an opinion but are programming your mind to believe these statements. Over time, these beliefs solidify into your self-concept. On the other hand, words like "I am capable" or "I can figure this out" build a stronger, more resilient identity. Your brain registers these words as truths, creating neural pathways aligning with your positive view. This connection between language and self-identity is why self-talk is so powerful. It rewires your brain over time. Best practice: become mindful of the words you use when thinking or speaking about yourself. Understand that every phrase contributes to your identity, positively or negatively. The more intentional you are with your words, the more control you have over how you see yourself. Shifting from negative to neutral. One of the most effective ways to reshape your self-concept is to shift from negative to neutral self-talk. While positive affirmations are often encouraged, jumping from a deeply negative mindset to overtly positive statements can sometimes feel forced or unrealistic. That's where neutral statements come in. Critical insight: shifting from negative to neutral is an approachable, sustainable way to rewire your self-concept without feeling like you're lying to yourself. For example, if your self-talk seems like, "I'm a failure," it can be difficult to immediately replace that with, "I'm successful in everything I do." The brain might reject that drastic shift. Instead, move toward neutral statements like, "I'm working on my skills" or "I'm in the process of improving." Neutral self-talk helps you remove judgment without adding pressure to believe in overly optimistic statements immediately. These neutral phrases soften the harsh inner dialogue and make room for growth. Over time, these neutral statements can evolve into positive self-talk as your confidence and self-concept shift. Best practice: when you engage in negative self-talk, consciously reframe it to a neutral statement. For instance, instead of saying, "I always mess things up," say, "I'm learning from my experiences." Instead of, "I'll never be good enough," try, "I'm taking steps toward improving." Neutral statements are realistic and approachable, reducing the inner resistance from overly positive affirmations. Identifying harmful inner dialogue. Before you can change your self-talk, you must identify the harmful inner dialogue undermining your self-concept. These negative, often automatic thoughts can become so ingrained in your daily thinking that you don't even realize they're there. Critical insight: harmful inner dialogue is often subtle and repetitive. It operates in the background, shaping how you see yourself without consciously noticing. Take a moment to reflect on the thoughts you frequently have about yourself. Do you often say things like, "I'm not smart enough," "I'll never succeed," or "I'm not attractive"? These harmful thoughts don't just appear during moments of failure or challenge, they creep into everyday situations, slowly chipping away at your self-esteem. Actionable step: start by paying attention to your thoughts, especially in moments of stress or disappointment. Write down the automatic thoughts that come up. This will help you become more aware of how often you engage in harmful self-talk and what specific phrases or ideas are recurring. Best practice: keep a self-talk journal where you track the negative thoughts that arise throughout the day. When you see them on paper, you understand the patterns that dominate your inner dialogue. Once you've identified these harmful thoughts, you can begin dismantling them and replacing them with neutral or positive statements. The link between language and belief. The connection between the language you use and your beliefs is profound. The way you talk to yourself doesn't just reflect your beliefs, it reinforces them. Over time, repeated language patterns solidify into deeply held beliefs about who you are and your capabilities. Critical insight: the brain doesn't distinguish between reality and what you repeatedly tell it. The more you say something, the more your brain believes it. If you consistently tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," your brain will wire that belief into your self-concept. Every time you use a phrase like "I can't" or "I'm bad at this," you strengthen a neural pathway supporting that belief. On the flip side, when you start to use empowering language, phrases like "I'm learning," "I'm improving," or "I'm capable," your brain begins to create new pathways that align with these more positive beliefs. Over time, these new pathways strengthen while the old, limiting ones weaken. Best practice: be intentional with your language. Understand that every word you use in your self-talk shapes your brain and reinforces a belief. Choose words that align with the self-concept you want to develop, not the one you're trying to leave behind. Replacing harmful thoughts with empowering language. Now that you understand the link between language and belief, it's time to take action. Replacing harmful thoughts with empowering language is not about ignoring your struggles or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about reframing your inner dialogue to support growth and possibility rather than limitation. Critical insight: empowering language doesn't have to be grand or overly optimistic, it just needs to open the door to possibility. When you catch yourself thinking a harmful thought, take a moment to pause. Don't judge yourself for having the thought, instead, acknowledge it and consciously replace it with something more empowering. For example, instead of "I'll never get this right," try "I'm working on improving." Instead of "I'm not smart enough," say, "I'm learning every day." The key here is not to lie to yourself but to shift your language to open up space for growth. These small, consistent shifts in your inner dialogue will reshape how you see yourself over time. Best practice: practice reframing harmful thoughts in real time. The next time a limiting belief arises, immediately follow it with a more empowering statement. Over time, this will become a habit, and your self-talk will naturally shift toward a more positive, supportive tone. How self-talk impacts confidence and success. Your self-talk directly impacts your confidence and success in life. When your inner dialogue is filled with self-doubt, negativity, and fear, taking risks, pursuing your goals, or believing in your abilities becomes challenging. On the other hand, positive and empowering self-talk builds resilience, motivation, and self-belief. Critical insight: confidence is not just a trait but something you can build through intentional self-talk. The more you tell yourself you are capable, resilient, and worthy, the more your brain will believe it. This belief then translates into action. You start to take on new challenges, step outside your comfort zone, and persist through difficulties because you genuinely believe you can succeed. Success, in many ways, is a reflection of your self-talk. If your inner dialogue is supportive, encouraging, and grounded in possibility, you are far more likely to take the steps needed to achieve your goals. Actionable step: start building confidence by incorporating daily affirmations into your self-talk. These affirmations should be specific, believable, and aligned with your goals. For example, "I am capable of learning new things." "I am worthy of success and happiness." "I can overcome challenges and grow stronger." Best practice: use these affirmations consistently, especially in moments of doubt or fear. Over time, your self-talk will become more aligned with the confident, successful person you're becoming. The role of curiosity in reframing self-talk. Curiosity is a powerful tool in reframing self-talk. When you approach your inner dialogue with curiosity rather than judgment, you open the door to new possibilities. Instead of criticizing yourself for having a negative thought, ask, "Why do I believe this?" Or "Is this thought true?" Critical insight: curiosity allows you to detach from harmful thoughts and explore them without becoming emotionally entangled. Adopting a curious mindset allows you to question the beliefs and language patterns holding you back. You can explore where these thoughts came from and whether they still serve you. Often, you'll find that many of your limiting beliefs are based on outdated ideas or external influences that no longer align with who you are. Actionable step: the next time you notice a negative thought, pause and ask yourself, "Where did this thought come from? Is this thought based on fact, or is it an assumption? How can I view this thought differently?" Best practice: use curiosity as a tool for exploration rather than self-criticism. This mindset shift will help you approach your self-talk with compassion and openness, making it easier to replace harmful thoughts with more empowering ones. Self-talk is one of the most powerful tools for shaping your self-concept and creating the life you want. The words you use, consciously and unconsciously, can build you up or tear you down. You can reshape how you see yourself by becoming aware of your inner dialogue, shifting from negative to neutral, and replacing harmful thoughts with empowering language. Key takeaway: your self-talk shapes your reality. Choose words that align with the person you want to become. Remember, this is not about ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about consciously choosing to speak to yourself in a way that supports growth, possibility, and self-belief. The more you practice intentional self-talk, the stronger your self-concept will become and the more confident, resilient, and booming you will be in every area of your life. In the following chapters, we'll explore practical strategies for building a positive self-concept, shifting from limiting beliefs to empowering ones and living in alignment with your true potential. Chapter 4, Habits and Identity. Aligning actions with core values. At the core of your identity lie your values, the fundamental principles that guide your decisions, actions, and behaviors. But to truly live in alignment with your values, your daily actions must reflect them. Internal conflict arises when there's a disconnect between what you believe in and how you behave, damaging your self-concept. Critical insight: the alignment between actions and values is crucial for a cohesive identity. You experience greater peace, confidence, and self-respect when your actions match your core values. For example, if integrity is one of your core values, but you find yourself in situations where you compromise your honesty for convenience, it creates tension within you. Your self-concept suffers because your actions betray your values. Conversely, when your actions honor your values, like choosing honesty even when it's hard, your self-concept strengthens. You begin to trust yourself more and build a stronger, more authentic identity. Best practice: identify your core values and reflect on your daily actions. Are they aligned? If not, make small changes to bring them into harmony. This alignment is the foundation of living authentically, and it has a profound impact on your self-concept. Small actions, big shifts. We often think that major life changes require dramatic actions, but in reality, small, consistent actions lead to the biggest shifts in one's identity. Small habits, when repeated over time, can radically transform how one sees oneself and how one shows up in the world. Key insight: small actions, repeated consistently, lead to significant shifts in one's identity. It's not about making grand gestures, it's about consistency in the little things. Take something as simple as a commitment to exercise for 10 minutes daily. At first glance, this might seem insignificant. However, over time, these 10-minute workouts build a habit. They also shift how you see yourself, from someone inactive to someone prioritizing their health. This identity shift, triggered by a small action, can lead to more significant changes in other areas of your life. Similarly, a small action like committing to speak kindly to yourself each day may seem minor, but it can have profound effects. Over time, your inner dialogue becomes more compassionate and supportive, reshaping your self-concept from someone who is self-critical to someone who is self-accepting. Best practice: identify one small action you can take each day that aligns with the identity you want to cultivate. These small actions accumulate, leading to significant shifts in how you perceive yourself and live. The power of consistency. Consistency is the glue that holds habit transformation together. Without it, even the most well-intentioned actions will fail to create lasting change. The key to building habits that shape your identity is not intensity but consistency. Critical insight: it's better to do something small consistently than something big inconsistently. Consistency is the real driver of change. Think of consistency as a series of small wins. Each time you follow through on a habit, even a minor one, you reinforce your self-concept as someone capable and reliable. These wins, no matter how small, build momentum. Over time, the cumulative effect of consistently taking small actions reshapes your identity. For example, let's say your goal is to become more organized. A dramatic overhaul of your entire house may seem overwhelming and unsustainable. Instead, if you commit to organizing just one drawer daily, you'll slowly but steadily create an organized environment. More importantly, you'll begin to see yourself as someone who values organization and follows through on their intentions. Best practice: start small, but stay consistent. Focus on consistency over perfection. The goal is not to make immediate, sweeping changes but to commit to incremental progress daily. Reinventing yourself through new habits. Habits are more than just actions, they are the building blocks of your identity. Every habit you adopt reinforces your current self-concept or helps you reinvent yourself into the person you want to become. If you're going to shift your identity, you must focus on building habits that align with the version of yourself you aspire to be. Key insight: redefining yourself doesn't happen overnight. It occurs through the intentional building of new habits that align with the person you want to become. Consider someone who sees themselves as disorganized and chaotic. If they want to reinvent themselves as focused, disciplined, and structured, they can start by adopting habits that reflect that identity. Simple actions like planning their day each morning or setting daily priorities can begin to reshape how they see themselves. The key to reinventing yourself through new habits is to focus on identity-based habits rather than outcome-based ones. Instead of saying, "I want to lose 10 pounds," say, "I want to become someone who prioritizes their health." This subtle shift changes the focus from an external goal to an internal identity transformation. Your habits should reflect the person you're becoming, not just the results you want to achieve. Best practice: ask yourself, "Who do I want to become?" And then build habits that reflect that identity. Focus on the process, not just the result. Over time, these habits will shape a new version of yourself. The compound effect of habits on identity. Habits may seem small in isolation, but their cumulative effect is massive. When you commit to new habits and stay consistent, their impact compounds over time, leading to significant shifts in your self-concept. Critical insight: the compound effect of habits means that small changes, repeated consistently, can lead to exponential growth in your identity and self-concept. For example, someone who commits to reading for just 15 minutes a day may not initially notice a considerable difference in their self-concept. However, they will have read numerous books over a year, gaining knowledge, skills, and confidence. Their self-concept shifts from someone who doesn't read to someone who is well-read, knowledgeable, and constantly learning. The compound effect also works in reverse. Small negative habits, when repeated over time, can erode your self-concept. For instance, consistently procrastinating on tasks may seem harmless at first, but over time, it reinforces the identity of someone unreliable or disorganized. Best practice: be mindful of the habits you are reinforcing. Whether positive or negative, your habits are shaping your identity. Focus on building habits that align with the person you want to become and allow the compound effect to work in your favor. The role of habit triggers. Understanding the role of triggers in habit formation is critical to building successful habits. A trigger is anything that prompts you to take a specific action. It could be a time of day, a location, or an event. To successfully build new habits, you must identify and establish consistent triggers. Critical insight: habit triggers help anchor new behaviors by linking them to existing routines or external cues. For example, if you want to develop a habit of stretching every morning, you could use waking up as your trigger. Every time you wake up, it serves as a cue to stretch. Over time, your brain associates waking up with stretching, and the behavior becomes automatic. The more intentional you are about creating habit triggers, the easier it becomes to maintain consistency. These triggers are reminders, helping you stay on track with your new habits, even when motivation wanes. Best practice: identify a trigger for each new habit you want to build. Whether it's a specific time of day, location, or event, ensure the trigger is consistent and easy to follow. This will help you build habits with less effort and greater consistency. Overcoming resistance to new habits. Even with the best intentions, building new habits can be challenging. Resistance often manifests as procrastination, self-doubt, or a lack of motivation. However, resistance is a natural part of the habit-forming process, and learning to overcome it is essential for success. Critical insight: resistance is often a sign that you are stepping outside your comfort zone. The key is to recognize it and push through it. When you resist a new habit, it's important to acknowledge it without giving in. Understand that resistance doesn't mean you're failing, it simply means encountering the discomfort of change. The more you push through resistance, the weaker it becomes. Best practice: when resistance arises, take small steps to move forward. Break the habit down into even smaller actions if necessary. For example, if you struggle to exercise for 30 minutes, commit to just 5 minutes. The goal is to build momentum and keep moving forward, even in small increments. Tracking progress and celebrating wins. One of the most effective ways to maintain motivation and consistency with new habits is to track your progress and celebrate small wins. Tracking gives you a clear picture of how far you've come, while celebrating small victories reinforces positive behavior and encourages you to keep going. Critical insight: progress, no matter how small, deserves recognition. Celebrating small wins keeps you motivated and committed to the process. When you track your habits, you create a sense of accountability. It also allows you to identify patterns, what's working and not. Celebrating wins, even minor ones, boosts your confidence and reinforces your new identity. Over time, these celebrations build positive momentum, making it easier to stay consistent. Best practice: use a habit tracker to record your daily progress. Set milestones for yourself and celebrate when you reach them. These celebrations don't have to be extravagant, simply acknowledging your progress is enough to keep you motivated. Habits are the foundation of who you are. The small, consistent actions you take every day define your self-concept and shape the person you become. Whether you're looking to reinvent yourself, align your actions with your values, or create significant shifts in your life, it all starts with building the proper habits. Key takeaway: habits are not just actions, they reflect your identity. The more you align your habits with the person you want to become, the more you will see your identity transform. Chapter 5: Self-Concept and Choices. Choices reflect identity. The choices you make every day, no matter how small, reflect your identity. They directly manifest who you believe yourself to be and what you value most. Every decision, from the clothes you wear to your career paths, reflects your self-concept. This is why making choices holds so much power in shaping who you are. Critical insight: your identity is shaped by your choices, not the circumstances you face. Often, people believe their identity is fixed or controlled by their past or external situations. In reality, the choices you make in response to those circumstances define you. For instance, choosing resilience in adversity reflects a self-concept rooted in strength and perseverance. On the other hand, choosing to give up in the same situation may stem from a belief in inadequacy. To shift your self-concept, you must start by evaluating your choices. Are your decisions aligned with the person you want to become, or are they reinforcing old, limiting beliefs? For example, if you see yourself as someone who values health but consistently chooses unhealthy habits, there is a disconnect between your actions and your identity. To bridge that gap, you must start making choices that reflect the values and identity you aspire to embody. Best practice: before making a decision, pause and ask yourself, is this choice aligned with the person I want to be? This simple habit can lead to more intentional decisions and reinforce a stronger, more positive self-concept. The freedom in decision making. One of the most liberating aspects of human life is the freedom to make choices. This freedom is often overlooked because many people feel constrained by their circumstances, past experiences, or external expectations. However, at any given moment, you can choose a different path. This freedom in decision making allows you to shape your self-concept actively and, by extension, your life. Critical insight: every choice is an opportunity to redefine yourself. When you recognize the power in your ability to make decisions, you begin to see life differently. You are no longer a passive observer, subject to the whims of external forces, you are an active participant in creating your reality. Even in difficult or limiting circumstances, you always have a choice in how you respond. This realization is the key to personal empowerment. For example, let's say you're in a job you dislike but feel stuck because of financial obligations. While you may not be able to quit immediately, you can choose how you approach the situation. You can choose to improve your skills, network for new opportunities, or even shift your mindset toward gratitude for the aspects of the job that serve you. No matter how small, every decision moves you closer to becoming the person you want to be. Best practice: start embracing the freedom of decision making by reframing how you see your choices. Even in situations that feel out of control, identify one small decision you can make that aligns with your desired self-concept. How fear limits decision making. Fear is one of the most potent forces that can limit decision making. Whether it's the fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown, fear often prevents people from making choices that align with their true desires and values. When fear takes over, it can paralyze you, keeping you stuck in a cycle of indecision or forcing you to make safe but unfulfilling choices. Critical insight: fear-based decisions often reflect a self-concept rooted in doubt and insecurity. When you allow fear to dictate your choices, you reinforce a limited and constrained self-concept. For example, if you avoid pursuing a new career path because you're afraid of failing, you're reinforcing the belief that you're not capable or worthy of success. Over time, this fear-driven decision-making cements a self-concept of inadequacy. However, fear is often not based on reality, it's a projection of what could go wrong, not what is happening in the present moment. By recognizing fear as a temporary emotion rather than a guiding force, you can start making decisions from a place of confidence and courage. Actionable step: the next time you feel fear holding you back from making a decision, pause and ask yourself, what am I terrified of? Often, you'll find that the fear is based on a worst-case scenario that is unlikely to happen. By acknowledging the fear without letting it control your choices, you reclaim your power to act in alignment with your true self. Overcoming fear in decision-making. Overcoming fear in decision-making requires both awareness and action. The first step is becoming aware of when fear influences your choices. This can be tricky, as fear often disguises itself as practicality or logic. You may tell yourself, "I'm just being realistic," when you avoid a decision because of an underlying fear. Critical insight: fear is often disguised as rationality, but it's crucial to distinguish between fear-based logic and actual practicality. Once you recognize fear's presence, the next step is to take action despite it. This doesn't mean recklessly ignoring all risks, acknowledging the fear and choosing to move forward anyway. By consistently acting in the face of fear, you begin to reshape your self-concept. You stop seeing yourself as someone controlled by fear and start viewing yourself as courageous and resilient. Best practice: practice taking small, courageous actions. Each time you decide to challenge your fear, you weaken its hold on you. Over time, these small acts of courage will build a stronger self-concept, one that is based on confidence rather than fear. The power of intuition in decision-making. While fear often clouds decision-making, intuition offers a clear, grounded alternative. Intuition is that inner knowing, the gut feeling that guides you toward choices that align with your authentic self. Unlike fear, which is based on anxiety about the future, intuition is rooted in the present moment and reflects your deepest values and desires. Critical insight: intuition is the voice of your true self, guiding you toward decisions that align with your highest potential. Learning to trust your intuition can be challenging, primarily if you're used to making decisions based on external validation or fear-based thinking. However, the more you practice tuning into your intuition, the stronger it becomes. Intuition is not always loud, it's often subtle and quiet. That feeling of peace or clarity arises when you know you're making the right choice, even if it's not easy. Actionable step: to strengthen your intuition, practice tuning into how you feel when faced with a decision. Does the choice bring a sense of calm or excitement, or does it feel forced and anxiety-driven? Your body often tells you whether a decision aligns with your true self. Best practice: start small by trusting your intuition in low-stakes decisions, such as what to eat or how to spend your free time. As you build confidence in your intuitive abilities, you'll find it easier to rely on intuition for larger, more significant decisions. Balancing logic and intuition in choices. While intuition is a powerful tool, balancing it with logic and practicality is essential. The best decisions come from a blend of both, using intuition to guide you toward choices that align with your values and logic to assess the feasibility and potential outcomes. Critical insight: balancing logic and intuition leads to decisions aligned with your true self and grounded in reality. For example, you intuitively sense it's time to change careers. Your intuition guides you toward this choice because it aligns with your desire for growth and fulfillment. However, logic plays a role in helping you assess whether you have the skills, resources, and support needed to make the transition successfully. By combining intuition with logical thinking, you can make decisions that not only feel right but also make sense in the context of your current life circumstances. This balance ensures that your choices are both authentic and practical. Best practice: before making a significant decision, evaluate your intuitive feelings and the practical considerations. Ask yourself, does this choice align with my values and desires? And do I have the resources and support needed to follow through? This balanced approach will help you make more informed and empowered decisions. Building confidence through decision making. Each decision you make, no matter how small, has the potential to build or erode your confidence. When you consistently make decisions that align with your values and authentic self, you strengthen your self-concept and build confidence in your ability to navigate life's challenges. Critical insight: confidence is built through consistent decision-making that aligns with your values and authentic self. On the other hand, avoiding making decisions out of fear or making choices that contradict your values can weaken your confidence and reinforce a self-concept of uncertainty or inadequacy. The key to building lasting confidence is making decisions that reflect who you are, even when those decisions are difficult or uncomfortable. Each time you decide to align with your true self, you send a powerful message to your brain: I trust myself. This trust builds over time, creating a self-concept rooted in confidence and self-assurance. Best practice: make decisions that align with your values, even if challenging. Each time you choose authenticity over fear, you reinforce a self-concept of confidence and inner strength. Learning from poor decisions. While making aligned decisions is essential, it's equally crucial to recognize that not all decisions will be perfect. You will make mistakes, and that's okay. What matters most is how you respond to those mistakes and what you learn from them. Critical insight: mistakes are growth opportunities, not reflections of your worth or identity. When you make a poor decision, it's easy to fall into the trap of self-blame or regret. However, these reactions only serve to reinforce a negative self-concept. Instead, view each mistake as a learning opportunity. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? And how can I make a better decision next time? By approaching mistakes with curiosity rather than judgment, you shift from a self-concept of failure to one of growth and resilience. You become someone who learns from setbacks and uses them as stepping stones to success. Best practice: after making a poor decision, reflect on what went wrong and how to improve. Focus on the lessons learned rather than dwelling on the mistake itself. This mindset shift will help you grow stronger and more confident in your decision-making abilities. The ripple effect of small choices. No matter how small, every choice has a ripple effect on your life. Small decisions may seem insignificant, but they accumulate and influence more significant outcomes over time. These choices shape your daily habits, your mindset, and, ultimately, your identity. Critical insight: small choices compound over time, creating positive or negative ripple effects on your self-concept and overall life. For example, waking up 10 minutes earlier each day to read or meditate might seem trivial. However, the cumulative effect of that decision could lead to significant personal growth over months or years. Prioritizing your personal development, even in small increments, strengthens your self-concept and reinforces the belief that you value growth. On the flip side, seemingly small negative choices also have a ripple effect. For instance, repeatedly procrastinating on tasks can lead to feelings of inadequacy, stress, and a damaged self-concept. These small moments of avoidance accumulate into larger behavior patterns, ultimately shaping how you see yourself. Best practice: recognize that every small choice is part of a more significant trajectory. Pay attention to the ripple effect of your daily decisions, and start to make choices, however small, that align with your long-term goals and desired self-concept. Empowerment through conscious decisions. One of the most empowering aspects of life is the ability to make conscious decisions. When you are aware of how your choices impact your life and self-concept, you can begin to act with intention rather than out of habit or fear. Critical insight: empowerment comes from consciously choosing actions that reflect your values and goals rather than letting external circumstances or emotions dictate your decisions. Conscious decision-making requires mindfulness and reflection. It involves pausing before acting and asking yourself whether the choice you're about to make is aligned with who you want to be. This practice shifts you from a reactive mindset to a proactive one, giving you more control over your life and identity. For example, imagine you're faced with a decision between two career opportunities. One offers financial security but little personal growth, while the other aligns with your passions and values but comes with more uncertainty. A conscious decision would involve reflecting on which choice aligns with your long-term self-concept and goals. Are you seeking security, or is personal growth more vital to you at this stage of your life? This level of reflection empowers you to make an authentic decision rather than one driven by external pressures. Best practice: before making any decision, big or small, take a moment to reflect on its long-term implications. Ask yourself, is this decision aligned with the person I want to become? This habit will help you make more intentional, empowering choices. The intersection of self-worth and decision-making. Your self-worth plays a significant role in how you make decisions. When you have a strong sense of self-worth, you are more likely to make choices that reflect your values, needs, and desires. However, if you struggle with low self-worth, you may make decisions that compromise your well-being or settle for less than you deserve. Critical insight: the higher your self-worth, the more empowered you are to make choices that reflect your true desires rather than settling for what is convenient or expected. For instance, someone with low self-worth may stay in a toxic relationship out of fear of being alone or unworthy of better treatment. On the other hand, someone with a strong sense of self-worth would make the difficult but necessary decision to walk away, knowing they deserve healthy, supportive relationships. To improve decision-making, you must cultivate self-worth. This involves recognizing your inherent value and refusing to let fear or self-doubt dictate your choices. Actionable step: when faced with a challenging decision, ask yourself, am I making this choice because I believe I deserve it or because I'm afraid of something else? By shifting your focus toward your self-worth, you'll start making decisions that align with your values. Breaking free from decision paralysis. Many people struggle with decision paralysis, the inability to choose due to fear, uncertainty, or overwhelm. This paralysis can be paralyzing and cause stagnation in personal and professional growth. Critical insight: decision paralysis often stems from the fear of making the wrong choice, but inaction is also a choice, with its consequences. To break free from decision paralysis, you must learn to trust yourself. Recognize that no decision is perfect, and mistakes are part of the growth process. The key is to take action, learn from the outcome, and adjust your path as needed. Actionable step: when you are stuck in indecision, focus on taking one small step forward. Rather than seeking the perfect choice, aim for progress. This helps break the cycle of overthinking and builds momentum, making future decisions more straightforward. Best practice: practice making decisions quickly and confidently by setting a time limit. For example, give yourself 5 minutes to make minor decisions, like what to eat or wear, and no more than 24 hours for more significant decisions. This will train your brain to move past indecision and take action. The power of letting go. Sometimes, the most empowering decision you can make is to let go of something or someone who no longer serves you. Whether it's a toxic relationship, a limiting belief, or a dead-end job, letting go creates space for new opportunities and growth. Critical insight: letting go is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength and self-awareness. Often, people hold on to situations out of fear of change or the unknown. However, by releasing what no longer aligns with their values or goals, they open themselves up to new possibilities that better reflect who they are becoming. Actionable step: identify one area of your life where you're holding on out of fear or comfort. Decide to let go, trusting that this choice will create room for something more aligned with your true self. Best practice: regularly evaluate different areas of your life, relationships, career, habits, and ask, does this still serve me? If the answer is no, make the empowered choice to release it. How choices build self-trust. Trusting yourself is essential for effective decision-making. The more you trust your ability to make choices, the more confident and empowered you feel in every area of life. However, Self-trust does not happen overnight, it is built over time through consistent decision-making. Critical insight: whenever you make a decision that aligns with your values and goals, you reinforce self-trust. When you make choices that honor your true desires, you message yourself that you are reliable and capable. This self-trust fuels further confidence in your ability to navigate challenges and make decisions supporting your personal growth. On the other hand, when you consistently ignore your intuition or make choices that betray your values, you erode self-trust. This can lead to self-doubt and insecurity, making future decisions more difficult. Best practice: to build self-trust, make small decisions aligning with your values. Celebrate each time you follow through, and recognize that these small wins build a foundation of trust that will support you in more significant, complex decisions. The long-term impact of consistent choices. The choices you make today will shape the trajectory of your future. Consistency in decision-making is critical to creating the life you want. While one decision may not seem life-changing, the cumulative effect of consistently making aligned choices will transform your life over time. Critical insight: the impact of your decisions compounds over time, creating long-term shifts in your self-concept, relationships, and overall well-being. For example, consistently prioritizing self-care and well-being may yield little results, but over months and years, it leads to better health, increased energy, and a stronger sense of self-worth. On the other hand, consistently neglecting your well-being will eventually lead to burnout, illness, and a weakened self-concept. Best practice: think of decision-making as a long-term investment in your future. Each choice you make is a building block in creating your life. By staying consistent in your values and priorities, you ensure that the life you build reflects your true self. Choices are not just decisions but expressions of who you are and what you believe in. Every choice is an opportunity to align with your true self or drift further from it. By making conscious, empowered decisions, you shape your self-concept and create a life that reflects your highest values and aspirations. Chapter 6: Rewriting Your Story. Recognizing your current narrative. Your story about who you are shapes your identity, behavior, and decisions. This internal narrative acts as the lens through which you view the world and yourself, influencing everything from approaching challenges to interacting with others. But often, we don't realize that this narrative is not set in stone. It's a story we've created based on past experiences, external influences, and subconscious beliefs. Critical insight: your current narrative is not the truth but a version of events you've chosen to hold onto. Recognizing this gives you the power to change it. Take a moment to think about how you describe yourself internally. Are you telling yourself that you're not good enough, always unlucky, or can't achieve certain things? These parts of your internal narrative may no longer serve you. The first step in rewriting your story is becoming aware of the narrative you've been telling yourself. Actionable step: reflect on how you think about yourself daily. Write down key phrases or beliefs that frequently come to mind. Do they empower you or limit you? By putting your internal narrative into words, you can start seeing the patterns holding you back. Best practice: use mindfulness techniques to catch the stories you tell yourself in real time. Remember your thoughts, especially during frustration, doubt, or fear. Recognizing these stories as just narratives, not facts, is a crucial first step toward rewriting them. Reframing past experiences. Much of our narrative is rooted in our interpretation of past experiences. We tend to conclude ourselves based on these experiences, especially if they were harmful or painful. These conclusions can lead to limiting beliefs like, "I failed once, so I'm bound to fail again," or "I've been hurt in relationships, so I'm unlovable." Key insight: your past does not define you. What matters is how you interpret and integrate those experiences into your current narrative. Reframing past experiences means looking at those events from a new perspective that empowers you rather than limits you. For example, instead of viewing a past failure as proof of your inadequacy, you can reframe it as a valuable learning experience. Rather than seeing a painful breakup as evidence that you're unworthy of love, you can view it as an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Actionable step: identify an experience that still negatively impacts your self-concept. Write down how you view that event and how it has influenced your beliefs about yourself. Then, consciously reframe it. Ask yourself, what did I learn from this? How did this experience make me stronger or more resilient? Best practice: practice gratitude for your past experiences, even the painful ones. Gratitude allows you to shift from a mindset of victimhood to growth. Recognize that every experience, whether positive or negative, has contributed to the person you are today, and that you have the power to reinterpret those experiences in a way that supports your growth. Crafting a new personal story. Once you've recognized your current narrative and reframed past experiences, you're ready to craft a new personal story that reflects the person you want to become rather than the person you've been conditioned to believe you are. This new narrative is rooted in empowerment, self-compassion, and possibility. Critical insight: you are the author of your life. By crafting a new personal story, you take control of your narrative and reshape your self-concept to align with your highest potential. Crafting a new story isn't about ignoring reality or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about shifting your perspective to see yourself as capable, resilient, and worthy of success and happiness. It's about replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones and allowing your narrative to reflect your values, desires, and strengths. Actionable step: start by writing out the story of who you want to be. Focus on the qualities, values, and beliefs you want to embody. Be specific. How does this version of yourself handle challenges? What kind of relationships does this version of yourself nurture? How does this version of yourself view the world? Best practice: revisit your new personal story regularly. As you grow and evolve, your narrative will also need to adapt. By continuously refining your personal story, you stay aligned with your true self and develop a self-concept reflecting your potential. Letting go of the victim mentality. One of the most profound shifts you can make in rewriting your narrative is letting go of the victim mentality. This mindset often creeps in when you've experienced significant challenges, setbacks, or trauma. While it's natural to feel powerless in certain situations, staying stuck in the role of a victim limits your ability to grow, evolve, and take control of your life. Critical insight: the victim mentality keeps you in a loop of helplessness. Letting it go empowers you to reclaim your agency. When you see yourself as a victim, you allow external circumstances to dictate how you feel, act, and think. You may start to believe that life is happening to you rather than for you. This mentality can lead to stagnation, resentment, and a deep sense of frustration because you feel as though your circumstances are outside your control. However, letting go of the victim mentality requires a crucial realization: you are responsible for responding to life's challenges. While you can't always control what happens, you have complete control over how you interpret, react to, and move forward from those events. This shift is not about ignoring the hardships or invalidating pain, it's about recognizing your power to change the narrative moving forward. Actionable step: when slipping into victim thinking, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, am I blaming external circumstances for my feelings, or can I take responsibility for how I respond? Begin to challenge the belief that you are powerless. Instead, look for areas where you can take action, no matter how small. Best practice: reframe your thinking by focusing on what you can control. Letting go of the victim mentality means embracing the understanding that, although the past may have shaped you, it does not have to define your future. Empower yourself by recognizing that your choices, not your circumstances, will determine your life. Seeing yourself as the hero. To truly rewrite your personal story, you must begin to see yourself as the hero of your own life. This shift in perspective allows you to embrace your strength, take bold action, and view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than barriers to success. Critical insight: the hero's journey is not reserved for epic tales, it is your journey. Seeing yourself as the hero empowers you to take charge of your destiny. In traditional storytelling, the hero is the character who overcomes adversity, learns valuable lessons, and emerges stronger on the other side. What makes the hero powerful isn't the absence of challenges but their ability to face obstacles head-on and grow through the process. This same principle applies to your life. Seeing yourself as the hero means believing in your resilience and ability to navigate difficulties. It means recognizing that you have the power to change, to overcome, and to transform your circumstances. When you embrace this role, you shift from a passive observer of your life to an active participant in your story. Actionable step: start by identifying areas of your life where you can step into the role of the hero. What challenges are you currently facing that requires courage, perseverance, or self-compassion? Write down the traits you possess that can help you overcome these challenges. Best practice: regularly remind yourself of past hero moments, times when you faced adversity and succeeded or showed resilience and strength in the face of difficulties. These moments reinforce your capacity to continue your journey as the hero, no matter the challenges ahead. Taking ownership of your future story. Once you've let go of the victim mentality and embraced your role as the hero, the next step is taking ownership of your future story. The power to shape the following chapters of your life rests entirely in your hands, and this realization is both liberating and empowering. Critical insight: taking ownership of your story means fully accepting responsibility for your future. You are the author, and your decision is written on the next page. Ownership is about accountability. It's recognizing that while you cannot predict every challenge, you can shape how you respond, adapt, and grow from each situation. Many people drift through life, allowing external circumstances to guide them, never taking complete control of their direction. However, when you own your story, you no longer let life happen to you, you happen to live. This ownership begins with intentionally. By being transparent about the values, goals, and desires that matter most to you, you can actively make decisions that align with the future you want to create. This isn't about perfection or having all the answers, it's about consciously directing your path rather than leaving it to chance. Actionable step: set aside time to reflect on what you want the following chapters of your life to look like. Be specific. What values do you want to live by? What goals do you want to achieve? What relationships, career paths, or habits do you want to cultivate? Writing down these intentions helps solidify your vision for the future. Best practice: revisit your future story regularly. Life is dynamic, and your story may evolve. Periodically reflect on your goals, your progress, and whether your current actions align with the future you are working toward. This keeps you accountable and ensures you remain the active author of your narrative. Redefining success on your terms. Another crucial aspect of taking ownership of your story is redefining what success means to you. Too often, we adopt society's definitions of success: money, status, material wealth, without questioning whether these metrics align with our values and desires. Critical insight: success is subjective. External standards do not define it, it is defined by what brings you fulfillment, purpose, and joy. To take ownership of your story, you must first clarify what success looks like for you. For some, it might mean professional achievement and financial independence. For others, success could be living a life of peace, cultivating deep relationships, or pursuing creative passions. When you redefine success on your terms, you free yourself from the pressure to conform to societal expectations and embrace a path that truly fulfills you. Actionable step: take time to define success in each area of your life: career, relationships, personal growth, health, and more. Reflect on what truly brings you joy and a sense of accomplishment. Write down these definitions to serve as a guide for the decisions you make moving forward. Best practice: do not compare your journey to others. Success is not a one-size-fits-all concept, and your path will look different from those around you. Focus on what brings you genuine fulfillment, and measure your progress against your values rather than external benchmarks. Navigating setbacks and challenges as the author of your story. Thoughts and challenges are inevitable even when you take ownership of your story. However, your response to these obstacles determines whether they derail your progress or become stepping stones toward growth. As the author of your story, you have the power to rewrite the narrative around these challenges. Critical insight: setbacks are not the end of your story, they are plot twists that offer growth, learning, and redirection opportunities. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, See them as part of your hero's journey. Every great story includes moments of difficulty, but these are the moments that define the hero's resilience and strength. When you encounter obstacles, take a step back and reflect on what this challenge can teach you. How can you use this moment to grow stronger or gain new insights? Actionable step: the next time you face a setback, pause and rewrite the narrative. Instead of seeing it as a failure, frame it as a lesson or an opportunity. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this, and how can this experience contribute to my growth? Best practice: cultivate a mindset of resilience by regularly reflecting on how you've overcome challenges in the past. Each time you encounter a new obstacle, remember you've faced difficulties and emerged stronger. This reinforces the belief that setbacks are temporary and part of the journey, not the destination. Rewriting your story is one of the most potent acts of personal transformation. By letting go of the victim mentality, seeing yourself as the hero, and taking ownership of your future, you shift from a passive role to an active creator of your life. This process requires courage, self-reflection, and intentional action, but the result is a life that aligns with your true desires and potential. Key takeaway: your story is not written by external circumstances, you write it. Every decision, belief, and action you take contributes to your narrative. As you continue your journey, remember that rewriting your story is ongoing. There will always be new chapters to write, challenges to overcome, and opportunities for growth. By staying intentional, courageous, and resilient, you ensure that the story you create is one of empowerment, authenticity, and fulfillment. Chapter 7: Self-Concept and Choices: Living as Your True Self. How choices shape self-identity. The choices you make daily don't just affect your external life, they shape your internal self-identity. Every decision reflects who you are and who you want to be. Whether big or small, your choices build the foundation of your identity. They define how you see yourself, how others perceive you, and how your life unfolds. Critical insight: your self-identity is shaped by consistent choices. Every decision you make reinforces or reshapes your self-concept. Consider how your self-concept has evolved based on your past decisions. If you consistently prioritize your well-being, you begin to see yourself as someone who values self-care. If you choose to face complex challenges instead of avoiding them, you start to identify as resilient and robust. Each choice is like a building block, reinforcing the identity you want to build. However, when your choices are misaligned with your values, your self-concept becomes fractured. You may feel disconnected between who you are and how you live. For example, if you value creativity but consistently choose a path that stifles it, your self-identity becomes clearer and more satisfied. Aligning your choices with your true self is critical to creating a strong, clear, empowered identity. Best practice: regularly reflect on your choices and how they align with the identity you want to cultivate. Ask yourself, does this choice reflect my values and who I truly want to be? By being intentional, you will make decisions that strengthen your self-concept and lead to greater fulfillment. Choosing growth over comfort. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. One of life's most significant challenges is prioritizing growth, even when it means stepping outside your comfort zone. While comfort may feel safe and familiar, it also leads to stagnation. Conversely, growth requires you to take risks, face discomfort, and embrace the unknown. Critical insight: growth happens when you choose discomfort over safety. Your identity expands when you push past your limits. When choosing comfort and growth, the ego often urges you to stay in your comfort zone. It tells you that safety, familiarity, and routine are the keys to happiness. However, true fulfillment comes from challenging yourself, learning new things, and pushing beyond your perceived limitations. Choosing growth requires a mindset shift. Instead of seeing discomfort as something to avoid, see it as an opportunity for expansion. Growth happens when you lean into the discomfort, trusting that it's a necessary part of becoming the person you're meant to be. Actionable step: the next time you're faced with a decision, ask yourself, am I choosing this because it's comfortable or because it will help me grow? Make a conscious effort to prioritize growth, even when it feels challenging. Best practice: embrace small, consistent challenges that push you outside your comfort zone. Whether it's learning a new skill, having a difficult conversation, or pursuing a new career path, each decision to choose growth over comfort strengthens your self-concept as an evolving and courageous person. Learning from poor choices without shame. No one makes perfect decisions all the time. Mistakes are inevitable, and how you respond to them determines whether they hold you back or propel you forward. Many people fall into the trap of shame when they make poor choices, believing that their mistakes define them. However, shame only serves to erode your self-concept and reinforce negative beliefs about yourself. Critical insight: mistakes don't define you, how you respond to them does. Learning from poor choices without shame is essential for growth and self-compassion. The key to overcoming poor decisions is to view them as learning experiences rather than reflections of your worth. When you make a choice that doesn't serve you, pause and reflect on what went wrong. What did you overlook? What assumptions did you make? How can you approach a similar situation differently in the future? This kind of reflection turns mistakes into powerful lessons. Shame, on the other hand, keeps you stuck. It makes you believe that your poor choices reflect your character rather than just decisions that don't align with your goals. To break free from shame, practice self-compassion. Remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes and that these mistakes are growth opportunities. Actionable step: when reflecting on a poor choice, avoid self-blame. Instead, focus on the lesson it taught you. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience, and how can I apply this lesson? Best practice: develop a habit of forgiveness for yourself and others. When you forgive yourself for making mistakes, you strengthen your self-concept as someone compassionate, resilient, and capable of growth. How to make aligned decisions. Aligned decisions reflect your core values, goals, and authentic self. When you make decisions that align with your true desires, you build confidence, strengthen your self-concept, and create a meaningful and fulfilling life. However, many people struggle to make aligned decisions because they are swayed by external influences, societal expectations, fear of judgment, or pressure to conform. Critical insight: aligned decisions reflect your true self, not the expectations or demands of others. To make aligned decisions, you must first clarify your core values. What matters most to you? What kind of life do you want to create? What are your non-negotiables? Once you have clarity on your values, making decisions becomes more accessible. When faced with a choice, ask yourself, does this decision align with my values and vision for my life? It's also important to recognize the influence of fear in decision-making. Fear often masquerades as logic or practicality, but it can prevent you from making choices that reflect your desires. When fear is present, making decisions that keep you small or safe is easy, rather than aligned with your higher self. To make aligned decisions, you must be willing to confront and move through fear. Actionable step: when making a decision, ask yourself 3 key questions. Does this decision align with my core values? Am I making this choice out of fear or desire for growth? How will this decision impact my self-concept and the person I'm becoming? Best practice: create a personal decision-making framework based on your core values and long-term goals. Use this framework as a guide whenever you're faced with difficult choices. This will help ensure that your decisions reflect your true self rather than being swayed by external factors. The role of intuition in aligned decision-making. Intuition is a powerful tool for making aligned decisions. While logic and reason are essential, intuition offers insight beyond what the mind can analyze. Intuition is that inner knowing, the gut feeling that guides you toward decisions that feel right, even if they don't make sense on paper. Critical insight: intuition is the voice of your authentic self. When you trust it, you make decisions that align with your values and desires. Many people have been taught to ignore or suppress their intuition, believing that decisions should be based solely on logic. However, intuition often provides the clearest path toward alignment. It can help you navigate uncertainty, confidently make decisions, and stay true to yourself, even when external factors pull you in different directions. To strengthen your intuition, Practice tuning into your body and emotions when making decisions. How does each option make you feel? Do you feel a sense of peace and excitement, or does something feel off? Trust these feelings, they guide you toward choices that align with your true self. Actionable step: when faced with a decision, take a moment to check in with your intuition. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, which option feels most aligned with my true self? Trust the answer that arises, even if it's not the most logical choice. Best practice: combine intuition with logic when making decisions. Use intuition to guide you toward the right path and logic to assess the practical steps needed to move forward. This balanced approach ensures that your choices are both aligned and grounded. Building resilience through conscious choices. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, challenges, and adversity. One of the most effective ways to build resilience is through conscious decision-making. When you make decisions that align with your values and goals, even under challenging circumstances, you strengthen your inner resilience and reinforce your self-concept as someone who can gracefully navigate life's ups and downs. Critical insight: resilience is built through intentional choices. The more you choose alignment over avoidance, the stronger your resilience becomes. Conscious decision-making keeps you grounded in your values, even when facing challenges. For example, if you experience a setback in your career, you can respond resiliently by focusing on solutions and learning from the experience. This choice reinforces your identity as someone capable and resourceful rather than someone defined by their circumstances. Resilience is not about avoiding hardship but choosing how you respond to it. By consistently making decisions that reflect your strength and authenticity, you build the resilience needed to thrive in adversity. Actionable step: when faced with a challenge, ask yourself, how can I make a decision that aligns with my values and strengthens my resilience? Focus on actions that empower you to move forward rather than reacting from fear or frustration. Best practice: practice resilience building decisions in everyday life. Whether dealing with a difficult conversation or managing a stressful situation, make choices that reflect your inner strength and commitment to growth. Your choices are the building blocks of your self-concept. Every decision you make reflects your values, shapes your identity, and contributes to the person you are becoming. By choosing growth over comfort, learning from poor choices without shame, and making decisions that align with your true self, you actively shape a strong, empowered, and resilient self-concept. Chapter 8: Visualizing Your Best Self. The science behind visualization. Visualization is more than just daydreaming, it's a powerful mental tool rooted in science that can transform your reality. The brain responds to mental imagery like it does to actual experiences. This is why athletes, performers, and high achievers use visualization to enhance performance, reach goals, and change their self-concept. Critical insight: your brain doesn't differentiate between real experiences and vivid mental images. Visualization helps you practice success and shape your self-concept. When you visualize, you activate the same neural pathways that would be used if you were physically performing the task. This means that by visualizing success, confidence, or personal growth, you are priming your brain to believe it is possible. The more you visualize your ideal self, the more you internalize those traits and behaviors, making it easier to align with that vision. Neuroscientific studies have shown that visualization strengthens the brain's neural connections, enhancing one's ability to perform tasks, achieve goals, and build self-confidence. By regularly practicing visualization, one conditions one's brain to expect success, reducing the mental barriers that may have previously held one back. Best practice: set aside time daily for visualization. Whether it's 5 minutes in the morning or just before bed, use this time to mentally rehearse your goals, desired behaviors, and the person you want to become. Make your mental images vivid and specific, engaging all your senses as though you are already living the reality you want to create. Creating a clear vision of who you want to be. One of the most important aspects of visualization is clarity. Without a clear vision of who you want to be, your mental imagery will lack direction and focus. The more precise and detailed your vision, the more influential the effects of visualization. Critical insight: Clarity is the foundation of successful visualization. The more specific your vision, the more effectively your brain can align with that desired outcome. Start by asking yourself, who do I want to become? Go beyond vague goals like successful or happy and create a detailed picture of your ideal self. What habits does this version of you embody? How does this person handle challenges? How do they show up in relationships, work, and self-care? To create a clear vision, it helps to break it down into specific areas of your life. Physical health: how does your best self take care of your body? What physical activities, diet, and wellness practices do they engage in? Emotional well-being: how does your best self handle stress, setbacks, and relationships? What emotional habits, such as gratitude or resilience, define them? Career/work: what level of achievement, skill, or creativity does your best self bring to your career? What kind of work environment do they thrive in? Personal growth: how does your best self approach learning, creativity, and curiosity? What kind of personal development habits do they have? Once you've outlined a clear and specific vision of who you want to become, you can use this vision as a template for your visualization practice. Actionable step: write down a detailed description of your best self. Break it into categories that reflect different areas of your life, and describe each one as vividly as possible. Refer to this description regularly during your visualization practice. Best practice: keep your vision dynamic. As you grow and evolve, your ideal self will also shift. Update your vision periodically to reflect your changing goals, desires, and self-concept. Manifesting change through mental imagery. Visualization is not just about imagining a better future, it's about manifesting that change in your life. Mental imagery is a powerful tool for turning abstract goals into tangible reality. By visualizing your best self, you can train your brain to act as though that version of you already exists. Critical insight: manifestation through visualization works by aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the person you want to become. The manifestation process isn't about wishing for change but actively creating it through intentional mental rehearsal. When you visualize yourself achieving a goal or embodying a new habit, you give your brain a blueprint. The more you practice this mental imagery, the more your brain works toward making it a reality, consciously and subconsciously. For example, if you visualize yourself as a confident public speaker, you're not just imagining it, you're preparing your brain to perform that way in real life. Over time, this mental rehearsal builds the neural pathways necessary to perform with greater ease and confidence. Visualization helps bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Actionable step: during your visualization practice, see yourself as the person you want to be and engage in the actions that will take you there. For instance, if your goal is to be more disciplined, visualize yourself waking up early, sticking to a routine, and completing tasks with focus and energy. Best practice: combine visualization with action. After mental rehearsal, take concrete steps in the real world that align with your visualized self. Each action reinforces the neural pathways you've built through visualization, accelerating your growth and progress. Setting goals aligned with your vision. Visualization is most effective when paired with clear, aligned goals. Once you've created a vivid image of your best self, the next step is setting specific objectives to bring that vision to life. These goals should be actionable and directly connected to the version of yourself you've been visualizing. Critical insight: goals grounded in your vision help bridge the gap between imagination and reality. They provide structure and direction, turning mental imagery into achievable outcomes. Your goals should serve as stepping stones toward your desired self. Start by identifying what needs to change or improve to align with the vision you've created. Are there habits that need to shift? Skills to develop? Mindsets to adopt? Breaking down your overall vision into manageable, actionable goals makes tracking progress and staying motivated easier. For example, if your vision is to become more disciplined, one of your goals might be to develop a consistent morning routine. If you visualize yourself as confident and assertive, a related goal could be practicing speaking up in meetings or social settings more frequently. Actionable step: Break down your vision into critical areas, such as health, career, personal growth, and relationships, and create 1 or 2 specific goals for each location. Ensure these goals are realistic, measurable, and aligned with your long-term vision. Best practice: review your goals regularly to ensure they're still aligned with your evolving vision. Adjust as needed, and celebrate small wins to maintain momentum. Practicing daily visualization techniques. Visualization is not a one-time activity. It must become a daily practice to harness its power, a tool you use consistently to reinforce your goals, enhance self-belief, and create the life you envision. The key is making visualization a habit and integrating it into your daily routine, like meditation or exercise. Critical insight: the more frequently you practice visualization, the more effective it becomes. Consistency is crucial in rewiring your brain to align with your vision. There are several techniques you can use to practice daily visualization. The most critical element is creating a mental environment where you can see, feel, and experience your future self as vividly as possible. Here are a few practical techniques. Guided visualization: use a pre-recorded audio or a self-guided meditation where you walk yourself through the imagery of your best self. This can help you stay focused and create a vivid, immersive experience. Mental rehearsal: imagine yourself performing a specific action or achieving a particular goal successfully. This is particularly helpful for tasks that may cause anxiety, such as public speaking or a difficult conversation. Visualize the process going smoothly and yourself handling it with confidence. Sensory engagement: to make your visualization more powerful, engage as many senses as possible. What does your best self feel, hear, see, and even smell in these moments of success? The more detailed and sensory rich your visualization, the more accurate it becomes to your brain. Vision boards: if you're a more visual learner, creating a physical or digital vision board can complement your mental imagery. It helps reinforce your goals and reminds you daily of the life you're working toward. Actionable step: choose a visualization technique that resonates with you, and commit to practicing it for at least 5 minutes daily. Consistency is critical to embedding your vision into your subconscious mind, whether before bed, upon waking, or during a quiet moment in your day. Best practice: pair your visualization practice with physical actions that support your vision. For example, if you visualize being physically fit, follow it with a workout or stretch session. This strengthens the connection between mental imagery and real-world action. Seeing your future self in the present. One of the most powerful shifts that can occur through visualization is the ability to see your future self as though it already exists in the present. This practice involves more than just imagining who you want to become, it's about stepping into that version of yourself right now. Critical insight: by seeing your future self in the present, you collapse the distance between who you are and who you want to be. This shift in mindset makes it easier to act in alignment with your vision. When you can embody your future self in the present moment, your actions, thoughts, and decisions begin to reflect the person you are becoming, not the person you've been. This creates a powerful momentum toward achieving your goals because your behavior naturally aligns with your vision. For example, if your future self prioritizes health, ask yourself, what would the healthiest version of me do today? If your vision is to be a confident leader, start acting as if you already are. Make decisions, communicate, and engage with others as though that confident leader exists within you, because they do. The idea isn't to pretend or fake it. Instead, it's about embodying the traits of your future self so that your present actions bring you closer to that reality. The more you act like your future self, the more that version of you becomes your reality. Actionable step: each morning, ask yourself, how would my future self act today? Choose one action that reflects the qualities of the person you want to become and commit to practicing it throughout the day. Best practice: reflect on how your future self would handle challenges or setbacks. When difficulties arise, instead of reacting from your current mindset, ask, how would the person I'm becoming navigate this situation? This practice helps you develop resilience and confidence as you step into your future self. The role of emotion in visualization. One of the most overlooked yet critical components of effective visualization is emotion. Your brain is deeply influenced by the feelings you attach to mental imagery. The stronger the emotion, the more your brain believes in the reality of what you're visualizing. Critical insight: emotion is the fuel that powers visualization. When you can feel the emotions tied to your vision, your brain accelerates the process of turning that vision into reality. Think about how you want to feel when you've achieved your goals or stepped into your best self. Is it a sense of pride, joy, peace, or excitement? During your visualization practice, focus on cultivating those emotions as they are happening now. Let your body and mind experience the joy, relief, or satisfaction of realizing your goals. This emotional engagement creates a powerful feedback loop. The more you feel those positive emotions during visualization, the more your brain starts to believe that this future is not only possible but inevitable. This strengthens your resolve and makes it easier to take action in alignment with your vision. Actionable step: during your visualization practice, focus on how achieving your vision will make you feel. Allow yourself to fully experience those emotions as if they are happening in the present. This emotional engagement will enhance the effectiveness of your mental imagery. Best practice: pair positive emotions with specific actions in your daily life. For example, if you feel joy while visualizing your future self succeeding, carry that emotion into the present by performing a small task that aligns with your vision. This helps create a bridge between your visualized future and your current reality. Overcoming common challenges in visualization. While visualization is a powerful tool, many people encounter challenges in maintaining the practice or fully believing in their vision. These obstacles are natural but can be overcome with the right strategies. Key insight: doubt and distraction are common challenges in visualization, but consistency and focus help overcome them. Doubt: feeling skeptical about whether visualization will work is normal, especially if you've struggled with self-doubt or limiting beliefs. The key is approaching visualization with an open mind and a willingness to practice regularly, even when doubt creeps in. Over time, your brain will begin to believe in the possibility of your vision as you consistently reinforce it through mental imagery. Distraction: staying focused during visualization can be difficult, especially if your mind tends to wander or you're dealing with external stressors. To overcome distraction, create a quiet, comfortable environment for your practice, free from interruptions. Start with shorter sessions and gradually increase the time as your ability to focus improves. Impatience: many people expect immediate results from visualization, but real change takes time. Visualization is a long-term practice, and its effects are cumulative. Be patient with the process, and trust that every session brings you closer to your vision, even if the results aren't immediately visible. Actionable step: if you encounter doubt or distraction, gently redirect your focus to your vision. Don't judge yourself for losing focus, refocus on the mental imagery and emotions associated with your future self. Best practice: keep a visualization journal to document your practice and any shifts you notice in your mindset, behavior, or circumstances. This will help you track your progress and stay motivated, even when challenges arise. As you continue to practice visualization, remember that consistency, emotion, and clarity are essential. The more vividly and frequently you visualize your best self, the more your brain will work to make that vision your reality. Stay patient, stay focused, and trust in the power of your mind to create the future you desire. Chapter 9: Living as Your True Self. Defining what authenticity means to you. Authenticity is often discussed but rarely understood in a personal and actionable way. Living authentically means aligning your actions, values, and beliefs with who you truly are rather than who you think you should be. It's about expressing your true self without compromise and living a life that feels true to your core, not dictated by external expectations. Critical insight: authenticity begins with self-awareness. Living authentically is possible if you know what authenticity means to you personally. To define what authenticity means for you, you must take the time to understand your values, desires, and beliefs. What are your core values? What matters most to you in life? How do you want to show up in the world, and what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Defining these aspects allows you to live in alignment with them, ensuring that your actions truly reflect who you are. However, authenticity looks different for everyone. It's essential to recognize that authenticity isn't about fitting into someone else's definition of real or true. Instead, it's about crafting your definition based on your unique experiences, personality, and aspirations. Actionable step. Take time to reflect on what authenticity means to you. Write down your core values, fundamental beliefs, and the qualities you want to embody. These should be personal, not based on what others expect of you. Use this as a guide to evaluate whether your current actions, decisions, and lifestyle are aligned with your authentic self. Best practice: revisit your definition of authenticity regularly, as it may evolve. As you grow and change, so will your understanding of what it means to live authentically. Ensure that your life continues to reflect these personal shifts. Overcoming external pressures to conform. One of the most significant barriers to living authentically is the pressure to conform to societal expectations. From a young age, we are taught to fit into certain molds, whether those come from family, friends, culture, or society. This pressure to conform can make aligning with your true self challenging, as it often feels easier to follow the crowd than to stand out. Critical insight: external pressures to conform are constant, but true freedom comes from the courage to be yourself despite these pressures. A fear of rejection or judgment often drives conformity. We worry that we'll lose acceptance or face criticism if we stray too far from the norm. However, the cost of living inauthentically is far greater than the discomfort of standing out. When you conform to others' expectations, you lose a sense of who you are. Over time, this disconnect can lead to dissatisfaction, frustration, and even resentment. To overcome these pressures, it's essential to develop a mindset that prioritizes internal validation over external approval. This means making decisions based on what feels right for you rather than what you think will please others or fit societal norms. The more you practice this, the more confident you'll become in living authentically, regardless of outside opinions. Actionable step: identify specific areas where you feel pressured to conform. Is it in your career, relationships, or personal habits? Once identified, challenge these pressures by asking yourself, is this truly what I want, or am I doing this because I think I should? Best practice: develop the habit of seeking internal validation before making decisions. Before taking action, ask yourself if the choice aligns with your values and authentic self rather than making choices based on external expectations. Listening to your inner voice. To live authentically, you must be able to listen to your inner voice. This voice is your most profound intuition, the part of you that knows what is right for you, even when external noise and distractions cloud your judgment. Unfortunately, many people lose touch with their inner voice over time, silencing it in favor of external opinions and societal norms. Critical insight: your inner voice is your compass. Listening to it is the most direct path to living a life that aligns with your authentic self. Listening to your inner voice requires practice. It means quieting the external noise and tuning into what your intuition is telling you. This can be difficult in a world that constantly demands your attention, whether through social media, news, or the opinions of others. However, your inner voice is always there, waiting for you to listen. It speaks through your feelings, gut instincts, and moments of clarity. When you listen to this voice, you'll find that it guides you toward decisions that feel right for you, even if they go against what others might expect. It helps you stay true to your values and beliefs, leading to a more fulfilling and authentic life. Actionable step: set aside time daily to connect with your inner voice. This can be done through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting silently and reflecting on your current life choices. Ask yourself, what is my intuition telling me? What feels right for me in this moment? Best practice: pay attention to how your body reacts to different situations. For example, your inner voice often speaks through physical sensations, a sense of ease or tension. Use these cues to guide your decision making and ensure your choices align with your true self. Building trust in your inner guidance. For many, the challenge isn't just hearing their inner voice, it's trusting it. Doubt often creeps in, especially if the guidance they're receiving conflicts with logic or external advice. However, trusting your inner guidance is key to living authentically. Your inner voice reflects your deepest truths, and learning to trust it will strengthen your connection to your authentic self. Critical insight: trusting your inner voice builds confidence in your ability to live authentically, even when it challenges conventional wisdom. Building trust in your inner guidance takes time and practice. Start by following your intuition in small, low-risk decisions. For example, when deciding how to spend your free time, listen to what feels suitable for you rather than what others might suggest. Over time, as you see the positive results of following your inner guidance, you'll develop greater trust in its wisdom. Actionable step: take note of past situations where you followed your inner voice and the outcome was positive. Reflect on how trusting yourself led to better decisions. Use these reflections to build confidence in trusting your intuition moving forward. Best practice: when faced with a difficult decision, take a moment to tune into your inner voice before seeking external advice. This doesn't mean ignoring practical considerations but ensuring that your intuition plays a central role in your decision-making process. Creating boundaries for authentic living. Living authentically often requires creating boundaries that protect your true self. These boundaries ensure you are not constantly swayed by others' expectations or demands, allowing you to stay grounded in your authenticity. With boundaries, it's easy to maintain sight of who you are as you try to accommodate the needs and desires of those around you. Critical insight: boundaries are not walls, they are guidelines that allow you to live authentically while maintaining healthy relationships. Setting boundaries means being clear about what is acceptable and not in your interactions with others. This might involve saying no to activities or requests that don't align with your values or limiting time spent with people who encourage inauthentic behavior. Boundaries help you protect your energy and stay focused on living in a way that reflects your true self. Actionable step: identify areas where you need stronger boundaries to protect your authenticity. This could be in your relationships, work environment, or personal habits. Communicate these boundaries clearly and assertively, without guilt or fear of judgment. Best practice: practice self-compassion as you create and enforce boundaries. Remember that protecting your authentic self is not selfish, it's necessary for your well-being and long-term happiness. Letting go of the fear of rejection. One of the greatest fears people face when trying to live authentically is the fear of rejection. When you reveal your true self, there's always the risk that others won't accept or understand you. This fear can lead you to hide parts of yourself or conform to societal expectations. However, living authentically requires letting go of this fear and embracing the possibility that not everyone will accept your true self, and that's okay. Critical insight: rejection does not reflect your worth. It's a natural part of living authentically, not everyone will resonate with your true self. Authenticity attracts the right people into your life and repels those who are not aligned with your values. While it may be painful to experience rejection, it ultimately creates space for more meaningful, supportive connections. The more you embrace your true self, the more you'll attract people who appreciate and love you for who you are. Actionable step: acknowledge the fear of rejection but act authentically despite it. Remember that the right people will be drawn to your true self, and those who reject you are not meant to be part of your journey. Best practice: surround yourself with people who encourage and support your authenticity. This will help build your confidence in living as your true self, even when facing the possibility of rejection. Key takeaway: authenticity is not about perfection or living up to others' standards, it's about embracing your unique self and aligning with your values, beliefs, and desires. Letting go of people-pleasing behaviors. One of the most significant barriers to authenticity is people-pleasing. Many of us are conditioned to prioritize others' expectations, approval, and comfort over our truth. While people-pleasing behaviors often stem from a desire to maintain harmony or avoid conflict, they come at the cost of your authenticity. When you continually seek validation from others, you abandon your needs, desires, and values. Critical insight: people-pleasing is a form of self-betrayal. You distance yourself from your authentic self whenever you prioritize someone else's opinion over your truth. People-pleasing often manifests in subtle ways. You might say yes to something you don't want to do to avoid disappointing someone or hide aspects of your personality to fit in better. Over time, these small acts of self-denial erode your sense of self, leaving you feeling unfulfilled and disconnected from who you are. Letting go of people-pleasing behavior starts with recognizing that you cannot control how others perceive you. No matter how hard you try to mold yourself to fit others' expectations, you will never be able to please everyone. True freedom comes from releasing the need for external approval and embracing the idea that others' opinions of you do not determine your worth. Actionable step: practice saying no when something doesn't align with your values or desires. Start with small, low-stakes situations, and gradually build the confidence to assert your boundaries in more significant areas of your life. When you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you say yes to your authentic self. Best practice: reflect on moments when you felt compelled to people please and ask yourself, what was I afraid of? Was I seeking approval or avoiding conflict? Understanding the root of your people-pleasing behaviors will help you consciously shift away from them and make decisions that align with your truth. Breaking the cycle of external validation. External validation can be addictive. The temporary high of approval from others can make you feel accepted and valued at the moment, but this feeling is fleeting. Over time, relying on others for validation weakens your sense of self-worth because your identity depends on how others perceive you. Genuine authenticity requires breaking this cycle and cultivating internal validation, the ability to affirm and value yourself from within. Critical insight: external validation is a shaky foundation for self-worth. Genuine authenticity is built on internal validation, where your value comes from within, not others' approval. When you break free from the need for external validation, you take back control over your self-concept. Instead of constantly seeking approval from others, you begin to trust your judgment, values, and decisions. This shift creates a stronger, more resilient sense of self because your identity is no longer dependent on the fluctuating opinions of others. Internal validation starts with recognizing your strengths, values, and accomplishments. Practice acknowledging and celebrating your achievements without seeking validation from outside sources. The more you affirm your worth, the less you will need approval from others to feel complete. Actionable step: the next time you achieve something, no matter how small, pause and celebrate it privately before sharing it with others. Focus on how it feels to acknowledge your success internally without immediately seeking external validation. Best practice: keep a journal where you record moments of internal validation. Write down situations where you chose that aligned with your values or stood up for yourself, even if it wasn't the popular decision. Reflect on how these moments contributed to your authentic self. Embracing the journey of authentic living. Living as your true self is a journey, not a destination. It's a process of continuous growth, self-discovery, and realignment with your values. Authenticity doesn't happen overnight, and it's not about reaching a state of perfect self-expression. Instead, it's about making a conscious daily choice to show up as your true self, even when uncomfortable or challenging. Critical insight: authenticity is a lifelong journey that requires ongoing self-awareness, courage, and commitment to living in alignment with your values. Throughout this journey, there will be moments of doubt, setbacks, and temptation to revert to old habits of conformity or people-pleasing. This is natural. The path of authenticity is not linear, and giving yourself grace when you stumble is essential. What matters most is your willingness to keep moving forward, learning from each experience, and staying true to your commitment to live authentically. One key aspect of embracing the journey of authentic living is recognizing that your authentic self will evolve over time. As you grow and change, your values, beliefs, and desires may shift. Authenticity doesn't mean rigidly sticking to a static version of yourself, it means allowing yourself to evolve while staying true to your core values. Actionable step: reflect on how your understanding of authenticity has evolved. What did living authentically mean to you 5 years ago, and how has that changed? Embrace this evolution as part of your journey and allow your authentic self to grow. Best practice: practice self-compassion as you navigate the journey of authentic living. When you face moments of doubt or feel tempted to conform, remember that growth takes time and that every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Cultivating courage and vulnerability. Living authentically often requires vulnerability, the willingness to be seen as you are, without the masks of perfection or conformity. Vulnerability can feel uncomfortable because it exposes you to the possibility of rejection or judgment. However, it is also the foundation of genuine connection and self-expression. Critical insight: vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. It is through vulnerability that you build deeper connections and live more authentically. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you create space for genuine relationships and experiences. You invite others to see and accept you as you are rather than as the version of yourself you think they want to see. This authenticity fosters deeper connections and more meaningful interactions. Cultivating the courage to be vulnerable is an ongoing practice. It requires stepping out of your comfort zone and embracing the discomfort of being indeed seen. Over time, vulnerability becomes less intimidating as you experience the rewards of living authentically: greater connection, freedom, and self-acceptance. Actionable step: choose one area of your life where you've hesitated to show vulnerability. Whether in a relationship, at work, or with friends, take a small step toward being more open and authentic. Share your thoughts, feelings, or desires, even if uncomfortable. Best practice: remind yourself that vulnerability is not about oversharing or seeking attention, it's about showing up as your true self. Practice setting boundaries around your vulnerability and sharing it in spaces where it feels safe and supportive. The role of self-reflection in authentic living. Self-reflection is a critical component of living authentically. Without regular self-reflection, it's easy to lose touch with your core values and fall into patterns of inauthentic behavior. Reflecting on your actions, choices, and relationships helps you stay aligned with your true self and make adjustments when needed. Critical insight: self-reflection allows you to course correct and stay aligned with your authentic self. It's a tool for maintaining self-awareness and intentional living. Self-reflection doesn't have to be a formal process, it can be as simple as taking a few moments at the end of each day to ask yourself, did I live in alignment with my values today? Where did I stray from my authenticity, and how can I adjust moving forward? These small moments of introspection help you stay on track and continue growing toward your most authentic self. Actionable step: set aside time each day or week for self-reflection. Use this time to assess how aligned you feel with your values and whether any areas of your life need adjustment. This practice will help you stay connected to your authentic self. Best practice: use journaling as a tool for self-reflection. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can provide clarity and insight into areas where you may compromise your authenticity. It also serves as a record of your growth over time. Building an authentic life, long-term strategies. Authentic living is not just about making individual choices, it's about building a life that reflects your true self on a deep, structural level. This means creating an environment, career, and relationships that align with your core values and support your authentic expression. Long-term strategies for building an authentic life involve making intentional decisions that shape every aspect of your existence. Key insight: an authentic life is one in which every aspect of your environment, your relationships, career, and daily habits, reflects your values and supports your growth. Start by assessing the areas of your life that feel most out of alignment with your true self. Are there relationships that drain your energy or don't allow you to be yourself? Is your career aligned with your passions and values, or are you pursuing a path out of obligation or fear? Building an authentic life involves gradually changing these areas so that your external reality matches your internal truth. Actionable step: choose one area of your life, your relationships, career, or daily habits, and identify one change to align it with your authentic self. This could involve setting boundaries in a relationship, exploring a career change, or adjusting your daily routine to prioritize what matters most to you. Best practice: approach building an authentic life with patience and intention. It's not about making drastic changes overnight but about consistently aligning your life with your values, one step at a time. Thank you for joining me on this journey toward living as your true self. Throughout this book, we've explored the path of authenticity, from understanding your core values to breaking free from external expectations and embracing vulnerability. I hope these insights and practices have resonated with you and will serve as a guide as you continue aligning your life with who you are. Living authentically is an ongoing process, a journey that requires courage, self-awareness, and patience. It's about embracing growth, making choices that reflect your values, and allowing yourself to evolve. Remember, there is no rush to perfection, only a steady progression toward the life that feels most true to you. I hope this book has touched your heart and mind meaningfully, inspiring you to take bold steps toward the life you deserve. If it has, I would be deeply grateful if you recommended it to others who may benefit from this journey of self-discovery and growth. Together, we can share this message of authenticity and empower more people to live fully as their true selves. Thank you again for your trust in this process. I wish you all the best as you continue to write your own story, one that is defined by authenticity, joy, and personal truth.